7/10 off that, so Onchu's got a lot of work to do. He is, to try and get himself further up the grid. We are coming into our final 5 minutes or so, plus whatever time's remaining on the live laps after the checkered flag. And here we are looking at David Alonso. He rolls down pit lane. He has made plenty of history in Moto3. He was the first Colombian world champion. He's been a Grand Prix winner in Moto2. But Colombia has never had a pole sitter in this class. For the moment, 5 minutes to go until the checkered flag comes out on Moto2 qualifying on Sunday morning here in Brazil.
Yeah, none of the top three at the moment in this Q2 session have had a pole before. Of course, Becerra certainly had one previous opportunity to do that. But Alex Escrecha, best qualifying of fourth. David Alonso, he qualified second on the grid back in Indonesia at the end of last year. That's his best so far, but he's got plenty of riders who are looking to take aim at that 120.7, including Manu Gonzalez, who's done his best first sector so far, as he went out of the pits early, knowing that he cannot afford, he's not got that back lap on the board, so he can't afford to sit on that 121.2.
Gonzalez qualified rather sluggishly over in Thailand as well. He was down on the third row of the grid there. He's on the fourth one provisionally at the moment. He's only 2,000 off going into pole position at the halfway point. He's blown up though, so he's going to be offline. He's got to keep running with this because he's got a train of riders right behind him. Manu Gonzalez, I think this lap's going to go away from him. He might still be on a personal best, but it's not going to be anything to trouble that front row at the moment. 3/10 off, he might sneak him onto the second row if he can hold it.
Baez, the rider, going quickly though further back down the racetrack. Guevara's not getting much together either at the moment. We have 4 minutes to go, so Gonzalez then, it's going to be minimum in the 120s here, and it isn't. No. It's a 21.2. It's no improvement on what he did already. Valle is going to hit the line any moment now. 13th up to 6th, second row of the grid for Valle.
Flying stuff there from the number 95. We need to be able to look at Celestino Vietti and Alonso Lopez though. Red sectors through the opening two sectors, likewise Danny Holgado. So it's getting tight. I tell you what, further down, Mario Aggi's found something in the second sector. So red sectors lighting up our timing screen at the moment. Danny Holgado is the rider who's leading this charge. He's got Alex Escridge right behind him, and there's a few bits back on the track. Celestino Vietti's also in this same area, but he's lost it in that third sector. Let's bring Holgado across the line, asking for the power. That was a big moment as well for Joe Roberts as we pick him up through turn 14. Less than 3 minutes on the clock. Danny Holgado is going to go up to the front back in third. Celestino Vietti was on course for the provisional pole. He lost it all in the second half of the lap, but improves his time to 6th. Mario Aggi there in 7th, so he improves as well on the Honda Team Asia machine. And Angel Piqueras is right behind. I tell you what, Aggi could do a worse thing than to let Piqueras through, because Piqueras is looking at his first front row in Moto2, so that would be a good reference for the Indonesian to follow.
Career best qualifying for Aggi back in Buram. He's going to better that by 2 places if he put the flag out now, but so many riders need to improve. Gonzalez and Guevara, they're now down in 14th and 12th respectively, as Fire now goes back up onto the second row in 5th place, but best first sectors for Vietti, for Piqueras and for Holgado.
2 minutes and a little bit more left on this clock here in Moto2 Q2, and I think we are going to see a fair few changes. Holgado is pushing on here through the second sector. We're taking him through the complex, turn 9, turn 10, 11, and then out to the curve, bring it back to turn 12. For the power, this is where it gets a little bit squirrely on exit, down towards turn 13. Holgado is still up through the third sector, 3 red sectors, but he's towing Alex Escridge along, and Alex Escridge on that forward racing machine. Can he dismount this lap in P1? We bring him to the line. Danny Holgado's going to get that first. Holgado P1, Escridge can't quite match the 96, but he does secure P3. We need to be looking at Manu Gonzalez. He's in the third sector, and he's up by a tenth and a bit.
It's an Aspar 1-2 at the moment, followed by the forward of Escridge. Piqueras then still in 4th place, but Gonzalez and Guevara, the top 2 in the World Championship, are far from done there. Guevara's third sector, pretty poor at the moment, and 3.5 tenths back from pole will put him outside the top 10.
He's a rolling roadblock at the moment for Manu Gonzalez, but he will be punching a hole in the air. Gonzalez needs these 3,000 of a second. Will he get them in the slipstream? Manu Gonzalez, no! Drops time. Maybe he was tripping up under Guevara at the turn 13 and 14 area. So 4th for Manu Gonzalez anyway. It's a salvage shot from where he was, but really, he gets that turned under. Ethan Guevara might be a bit of a dress rehearsal for Laters 26 lapper.
Well, as a result of that move, Guevara won't find himself very close to Gonzalez on the grid at all. Of course, Guevara won't improve now as a result of that. He's backed out of it, so he will start 13th on the grid at best at the moment, but the pole position is still not secured for Danny Holgado. Gonzalez did keep the pace up as he carved up Guevara to sit the fastest first sector, and he's not the only one. Tony Arbolino has done the same.
Manny Gonzalez is up through that first sector. We pick him up now, and he's up again with his second sector, but this is where he was good last time around in the opening half of that. We need to see what he can do in the second half. Carrots comes across the line with 5 seconds to go, so he now starts his final flying lap. Gonzalez, oh dearie me, I think he's had a big moment there, and he knows it. He's angry. That could have been a pole position lap, but Manu Gonzalez looks like it worse to be on the second row.
Tony Arbolino then, he's 2/10 off, but that's actually an awful lot around the circuit laters, because look, less than a tenth of a second covers the top 5 in this session. Arbolino currently sits in 10th place. He might just nudge Angie off the third row of the grid here. He's got his teammate Baltus right behind. Baltus not improving either. Arbolino hits the line, fails to improve. He stays 10th.
It looks like that is all she wrote in Moto2 Q2. See Celestino Vietti, as I say, that may well just be proving me wrong. He's up through the first sector. We get in through the second sector, but it's all gone away from him. Celestino Vietti gave us something to think about, but in the end, can't capitalise on it. Angel Piqueras' last live lap ends up in the gravel because he goes off at turn 10. So I think we have it all. Celestino Vietti just needs to get home safe and sound. He's trying his best not to do so, and gives us a headbang as a result. Down towards the turn 13, the number 13 is going to be down on the middle of that third row. So Celestino Vietti only a quarter of a second off pole, and that's just how tight it is in Moto2. This is what happened to Gonzalez. I thought he'd hit the curb because the camera was going all over the place, and he was going to bring it back down for an apex. So Manny Gonzalez is fourth. He could have been worse, so he could have been down where Ethan Guevara is in 13th at 1 point.
Yeah, he's still very much in touch to challenge for back-to-back victories in Moto2 today. So a 5th Moto2 pole for Danny Holgado. And we said once again, in fact, Nico Tyrrell said it himself in qualifying 1, it could be an advantage. It was an advantage in the end for Danny Holgado as he takes his 5th career pole, an equal best Moto2 qualifying then for David Alonso. He still has to wait for that first TISO watch in Moto2, but it equals his best in second. And a first Moto2 front row. He's one short of a half-century of Moto2 appearances, and Alex Escreech will start from the front row for the forward team for the Brazilian Grand Prix later on.
Fantastic scalp for the forward team to be getting ahead of the Boston Scuros as well. They wouldn't have predicted that. You can see what it means to them down there in Parc Ferme. Just on the Boston Scuros, the best one in the end was Celestino Vietti in 8th place. I'm looking down the order to see where Dennis Hopkins, and I'm going to carry on looking. It's down in 18th place, just behind the rider who he replaced in that Ultimate VDS team, and that is Philip Salach. Salach 17th behind his own teammate Joe Roberts. So in the end, nothing to shout about for the only Comes America racing team. Dennis Oncho all at sea though, 8.5 tenths off pole position, and more than 2 tenths off the rider up ahead of him. So problems down there in the Oscar Scuro-clad Mark VDS plan.
So many expected the title battle in 2026 to be between the Aspar pair of Danny Holgado and David Alonso. Is that a little snapshot of what we're going to see throughout 2026? Just 17 thousandths between them, but it is Holgado who denies David Alonso on this Sunday morning in Brazil.
Another Aspar 1-2. Jorge Martinez himself will be very, very happy with that. I'll tell you what, who else can we pick out? Colin Vire, very strong stuff indeed. 6th again. That's another top 6 performance for the Dutchman. Just behind Angel
Piqueras, to me, one of the stars of that morning session. He is really getting up to speed quickly in Moto2. From what we saw in practice earlier on in the weekend, that is no fluke.
Not at all. And Piqueras, of course, by virtue of it being just his second appearance in Moto2, that is his best appearance in Moto2. I know that sounds fairly obvious, but it's very important to highlight these kind of things. Alonso Lopez up there in 7th. Well, that's a far cry in the difference in comparison to Thailand when he was down in 19th. So Alonso Lopez gets that done. Vietti 8th, 9th for Mario Aggi. Let me just check the notes, but I think that's Mario Aggi's joint best qualifying in well, with Thailand last time out. Yeah, and then we go to Kota next, where he got his best Grand Prix result. Let's see if he can go there on a high. Arbolino, who led practice, he's 10th. Danny Munoz 11th. Ivan Ortola there in 12th, but the big hitter is Ethan Guevara. Less than half a second off, but 13th at the head of the 5th row.
Never really got it together, did he, in that session? I mean, a 21-1, 4/10 off pole, not exactly slow, but when the field is so closely packed together to around this circuit, I was way too far back. We're not just going to hear from the pole sitter, we're going to hear from all three in Park Ferme. A first front row. Well, he might smile. Alex Escreech without.
Congratulations, your first front row in Moto2. You must be pretty pleased with that, and it's been coming, hasn't it, in recent months and years? How are you feeling?
Yeah, really happy because we are fighting. We are Thailand was a bit difficult to do, but we know our potential, so we are pushing to achieve maybe not that goal, but similar. But anyway, to be in the first row was a bit the objective, first, second row, because we know the potential, so we will enjoy that, and I hope this afternoon we can push off this road, so we'll see if we can achieve more.
Good luck in the race.
Thank you.
Top job by Alex Escreech, that to move through into the front row and P3. He did have a great reference in Danny Olgado to get the lap in, but you've got to be able to do the lap, Lewis, and Alex Escreech could.
That's part of the game, isn't it? Part of the strategy in these qualifying sessions, finding the right point on the racetrack, and a rather miffed Manu Gonzalez, the World Championship leader, having not quite nailed that final lap. The first lap went pretty well, but a crucial mistake coming through the chicane of 10-11. 12, potentially costing him a front row, if not pole.
Fourth place, though, still a good job from Manu Gonzalez. He'll be looking at who's around him, and he won't be too disappointed to see Ethan Guevara. Wow! Deary me, doesn't make easy. That was at turn 5. Now, that was coming through the downhill left-hander. We didn't see this live, and Manu Gonzalez, oh, deary me. No wonder he's annoyed, as that was probably another lap that went away from him.
Yeah, it was a scrappy session, wasn't it, for Manu Gas, but in the end, a fairly successful one. He starts from 4th.
Indeed, he does, but he'll be thankful that he got away with that so that he could get lapping. Talking of getting laps in, it is an Aspar 1-2. We're going to hear from P2. That first pole just eluded him. But that's not a problem for David Alonso, who's down there without.
Not quite that pole position you would have wanted, but after a tough Thailand, it must be pretty good to be on the front row and Aspar 1-2. How confident are you feeling now ahead of the race this afternoon?
Different weekend, but I really enjoyed this track, and this qualifying for me it was. I am working on that to try to be more awake for the qualifying, for the first lap. I try to do some exercise before the quali start to active myself, and I think I improved this part. I need to keep going. We raced so fast in this qualifying. The grip was awesome. So yeah, now I need to improve with the second tire. I didn't improve, but well, now it's the race, so let's keep focused.
Good luck for later.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, David Alonso. Good job indeed. Back on the front row. He's down on the 4th row in Thailand, Lewis. So a big improvement for the Colombian. He'll be looking to get his opening account up and running here. He's got no points, but he's in a good position to bag some big ones today.
And both of the Aspar riders put in a long run for the entirety of FP2, so in fact they're best placed in this Moto2 field to understand how the tyre is going to behave across the Grand Prix, because there's not a lot of information for these Moto2 riders to really draw upon to understand what they're going to do in the Grand Prix over 26 laps later.
We did promise you an Aspar 1-2 though, and it is Danny Olgado, who has just been so cool, calm and collected. He came through Q1, he got the job done there. fastest time on the weekend. Then he's gone and beaten it himself in Q2 in to give himself pole position over David Alonso. Only 17 thousandths of a second. He starts from pole. Nonetheless, let's hear from what he's got to say. He's down there with Ellen Parker.
And outside the top 20 on Friday, Q1 on Sunday morning here, and then pole position in Parc Fermé ahead of the race. You must be pretty pleased with how that unfolded.
Yes, I'm very happy with my qualifying today. This is very important for us because start always in the pole position is very important in Moto2. After a difficult Friday, I don't have a good feeling about finish the freestyle. Here in Guyana, and the track was not the ideal. Yesterday I did a good job in the race simulation. I feel was better. Today, facing the time attacks. I think we be calm because now is the important moment. 3 hours more or less. But I'm ready for the race, and so is the most important.
Great job and good luck for the race.
Very much.
Top job done by Danny Holgado, as I say, and Asphalt 1-2 was by the narrowest of margins, but they got Alex Esquire. He's there in third. Manu Gonzalez in fourth. The Keras is an interesting prospect in fifth. Ethan Guevara's got work to do down in 13th. Moto2 qualifying, can you believe it, is done and dusted at last on Sunday morning, which means I'm out of here, Lewis. I'm going to leave you to wrap this one up. And you'll be able to take everyone through the standings. Enjoy your Grand Prix Sunday. Matt Burt is waiting to jump in the hot seat. Grand Prix Sunday in Brazil. It's going to be a belt. I'll be watching on. Enjoy it, chaps.
Yep, enjoy Kiko, enjoy everyone at home. The sun is now coming out too. Just to complete our Moto2 qualifying action. So potentially something worse than the weather already on this Sunday morning. Let's hope so as we get set for 3 cracking Grand Prix. Moto3 over 24 laps in an hour and a half from now, midday local time. So that will get underway. Moto2 back on track in less than 3 hours, 2 hours 45 to be exact, 1:15 for the 26 lap Moto2 battle and 31 laps of MotoGP at 3 p.m. local time this afternoon. Who will be the first Brazilian Grand Prix winner since 2004, the first winner here in Guyana since 1989. The Moto2 all coming up Aspar, isn't it, on this Sunday morning. Danny Holgado then taking his, of course, first pole of the season, but his 5th in Moto2, denying his teammate David Alonso. It's all set for an Aspar head-to-head later on. Alex Esquire made in front over him in third. Manu Gonzalez slightly annoyed at the end of the session, but he does line up fourth ahead of the stunning Angel Keras and Colin Via sixth. Alonso Lopez, Celestino Vietti and Mario Anchi on row 3. That equals Anchi's best in Moto2. Arbolino Munoz and Ortola on row 4. Guevara deep in the grid on the 5th row 13th ahead of Baltas and Garcia, who both came from Q1. So did Joe Robert, 2 lines up 16th ahead of his teammate Philip Salach and Dennis Chu. Saki and Tyler Rosato narrowly missed out in Q1, so there got the 7th row with Adrian Puertas. It's on to Van den Gorberg, who has a long lap later on, 22nd ahead of the substitute Poggio and Alberto Ferrandez. Aaron Canet. Fifth from Jorge Navarro. Jose Antonio Rueda, who had some mechanical issues in Q1, but Senna Aegis, who started first in Thailand, starts last in Brazil. So Danny Holgado is your pole sitter in Moto2. They'll go racing in less than 3 hours' time. Stick around. In around about 3 minutes' time, we'll begin our build-up to MotoGP warm-up.